And if we can get you away from the sights and sounds surrounding Miami Beach, we welcome you to Sun Life Stadium once again. The Miami Dolphins have won the toss and they have deferred, which means they will kick to the Oakland Raiders, who will get their hands on the football first. Number 32 is Brian McCann. With the injuries we outlined for you, they've also taken a toll on special teams, and Brian McCann will be doing most, if not all, of the return duties for the Oakland Raiders today. Number 5 is Dan Carpenter getting set to kick it away, and then the wind that Dan mentioned at the beginning of our broadcast takes its toll on the football team.
And you talked about the return guys here for the Raiders, Gregory. You know, you alluded to the fact Jacoby Ford is not here. He's got 4 kickoff returns for touchdowns, 1 this year, and that, when you have that kind of talent missing this game, that leaves a hole.
So for the second time, the wind blows the ball off the tee as you get a look at Hugh Jackson, the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Hadn't we talked to him yesterday, Dan?
Well, his middle linebacker, his second-year player, their number 1 pick from a year ago, Rolando McClain, was arrested in his hometown of Decatur, Alabama, and a question to whether let him play today or to sit him down, and Coach Jackson says we're going to let him play.
This is McCann, and he will not get a chance to run this out, and so the Raiders will start from their own 20-yard line. Jason Campbell went down with an injury. The Raiders went out and traded for Carson Palmer, and every week he gets more comfortable and fits in as he runs this Raider offense. 6 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions on the season.
Now keep in mind those 8 interceptions, 3 of them came when he subbed in a game against Kansas City when he'd been in a Raider uniform for about 3 days.
When his arms were full of rust.
Yeah, those 3 don't even count.
Empty backfield on first down, the pass to the near side, and that is complete to Darius Hayward-Bay. Let's check out the Oakland offense. The front line anchored by 5th-year center Samson Satelli, who spent his first 2 NFL seasons here as a Miami Dolphin. Injuries taking a toll on the wide receiver core, but Michael Bush has stepped in for Darren McFadden, and he has been superb. Bush is the deep back behind Palmer on 2nd and 4. Palmer changing things up. This is Bush. Stacked up at about the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. Miami's 3-4 defense. The veteran up front is 8th-year defensive end Randy Starks out of Maryland. One of the NFL's terrific linebackers is number 91, Cameron Wake, undrafted out of Penn State, the team sack leader with 6.5. And in a very young secondary, steady and dependable Jeremiah Bell, Miami's leading tackler, shows the way. There is Cameron Wake. 3rd and 2. From the shotgun, Palmer. Out of bounds.
Well, that is just a complete throwaway by Carson Palmer. He did a pump fake, and Darius Hayward-Bay wasn't even close to being open. So rather than risk the
29-yard line, 44-yard punt into the wind for Leckler.
Keep in mind that's a net 44. Forcing the fair catch, that's a heck of a kick.
And Rolando McClain does not appear to be in on this first series of downs. He stays on the sideline.
Well, remember, you know, not only the incident of being arrested, but he hurt his ankle in their game last week against the Bears. So he had no practice at all this week. He joined the team here in Miami on Friday, so he missed most of the week's work in the classroom. And Aaron Curry is going to have to run the show defensively from the linebacker spot.
Matt Moore. Tipped as the ball is thrown over the middle and it falls incomplete. Matt Moore is the Dolphin quarterback, getting praise from teammates and opponents alike, starting his 8th game of this season. 8 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, and he has stepped in and done a terrific job, Dan.
Yeah, he really has, Greg. And as I mentioned earlier, when you're playing on a team that playoff hopes, while mathematically alive, are realistically dead, you're playing for next year. You're playing for pride and all those usual things, but you're playing to find a roster spot on an NFL team yet next year. Matt Moore's playing well.
The pitch for Reggie Bush, turning the corner. Eludes a tackler, and across the 40, out to close to the 45-yard line for a first down.
Well, Tony Sperano just can't say enough nice things about Reggie Bush, and this is the old student body right, pulling offensive linemen. That is just giving Reggie Bush a chance. But, look at the way Reggie Bush finished that run. And the old line coach Sperano, he goes, that's the way I like to get a game started, a little power sweep.
And with that first down, Rolando McClain is into the lineup for the first time today.
Watch her over here, twist.
He's the Raider middle linebacker, Moore to throw. Incomplete. The offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. Right guard Vernon Carey, a question mark right up until today. They decided he is a no-go. Second-year lineman John Jerry moves in. And among the backs and the receivers, we're talking about Reggie Bush, showing the Dolphins and the rest of the league he can run the football for valuable yardage.
I can tell you one thing. We watched McClain warm up, and he did very little movement. He didn't move much at all. If I was the Dolphins, I'd try to get him isolated, find out what he's got.
We get a false start on the Miami Dolphins. Mike Carey is our official today, our referee.
We're having problems with Mike Carey's his microphone. Well, we're not. He's having a problem with his microphone.
Ask him to speak up.
Yeah, really. Get a megaphone and just yell it up here. Interesting, the first penalty of the game is against the Dolphins, the least penalized team in the National Football League. And the team they're playing, Greg, the most penalized team in the National Football League.
Could well be wearing yellow. 2nd and 15. Deep drop for Moore. Good protection over the middle. Fasano inside the 40.
Well, Cameron Wembley, the linebacker, is running with Fasano on this seam pattern. And this has been a real favorite. And you can see right there how physical Fasano was in getting past Wembley and finding an alley. But Wembley, his coverage wasn't that bad. That was just a really, really good throw by Matt Moore.
Dolphins at the Oakland 38, first down. Play fake to Bush. Moore with all kinds of time running out of it now and slides down at about the 35-yard line.
A great pocket provided for Moore, and a good, smart play. When you talk to the Raider coaches and Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator, he said he's kind of a sneaky good athlete. He'll surprise you moving around the pocket, and he'll do just that. He'll bust out and move it upfield. He's not Michael Vick on the move, but he's a better athlete, I think, than most people think of when you originally think of Matt Moore.
He picked up 4, and it's 2nd and 6. Under pressure, got rid of it, and off the hands of Devon Bess on the near side of the field. And Moore picks himself off the deck.
Well, Moore, first of all, is under pressure. He's not able to step in to throw, and that ball is low and away from Devon Bess. Aaron Curry's coming in right there, and because of the fact that Moore wasn't able to put anything on it, he had an open receiver in Bess. A better throw would have been a completion. That's a hard ball to catch when you're running in one direction, and that soft little sinker.
Moore now looking at a 3rd and 6. That pass complete to the 30-yard line to Brandon Marshall.
Well, unfortunately, Marshall ran a pattern that didn't have sufficient yardage for the first down.
Boy, Stanford route was right there with him.
But Brandon Marshall, oh, he slips. Yeah, he slipped and fell. And I think that altered the distance where he wanted to stem that pattern to and end up with a first down.
So now here is Dan Carpenter kicking with the wind, and this is a 48-yard attempt. And as we watched him warm up, the wind was significant. Carpenter's kick on the way. And he cleared the crossbar with ease. Tony Sperano's group has 3 on the board, 3-0 Miami. Back in Miami, the Dolphins go 40 yards in 8 plays, and Dan Carpenter's 48-yard field goal has Miami on top, 3-0. McCann will not run this one out of the end zone either. We're not likely to see many kicks run out of the end zone from that direction today. Michael Bush and the Raider offense on the field after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Sprint, only from Sprint. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
South Beach on a breezy day as we welcome you back. First down for the Raiders at their own 20-yard line. And they started off with the pitch to Bush around the right side, and he'll get 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. There is Tony Sperano, who, Dan, is under no illusions about his situation here in Miami.
No, it's not very often that you see a coach where it's such a foregone conclusion that he won't be back next year, although Stephen Ross hasn't exactly come out and said that, but it's certainly it's a conclusion that everyone in South Florida has drawn, and he has, I think, held himself and this team together very professionally. Tony has a lot to be proud of.
Carson Palmer on 2nd and 7. Give it to Michael Bush. Not much there. Let's get our first NFL Today update of the day to New York. JB and Boomer.
Greg, a good start for the Redskins. First series of the games, guys. 8 plays, 82 yards, capped off by Roy Halou. 2-yard touchdown run. Redskins up early 7-0. Jets coming back. They're driving against them now in the first quarter.
Skins trying to snap a 3-game losing streak at home. Greg Gumbel and Dan Beardorf.
99.
All right, guys. Thank you. 3rd and 8 for the Raiders.
Over here.
Palmer throwing this way, and that is complete across the 25-yard line to Chad Schillens, but that's short of a first down, and once again, Oakland has to kick it away.
Well, Miami did it on their last possession with Brandon Marshall, and now this time it was Oakland's turn, where on 3rd down you get a completion, and so what? That completion doesn't count for much if you don't get enough yardage to move the chains.
Devon Best deep for the kick upcoming from Shane Leckler. An 80-yard punt last week against the Chicago Bears.
Didn't look like that one.
No, nothing to write home about. Best on the left, across the 40. And out to about the 43-yard line. That's a 40-yard punt for Leckler into the wind. And a 10-yard return. 8 minutes on the nose remaining in the first quarter. Hey, tomorrow here on CBS, to save these children, the 5-0 team will do anything. But first, they'll have to find them. Don't miss a new episode of Hawaii 5-0 tomorrow, only CBS. During that punt return, Jason Trusnick guilty of a hold, and so that pushes the line of scrimmage back to the 25-yard line. And that is where Matt Moore and company will get started. Thought it was really interesting what Matt Moore told us, Dan, about how his receivers have been very patient and understanding with him while he's gone about learning the job here in Miami and about working with them.
And he's made the point, you know, how well he's been received, but then you talk to all his other offensive teammates, and one word just keeps surfacing over and over: leader. Not the kind of rah-rah leadership that you read about in the book, but the natural kind that it kind of oozes out of your pores.
This is Reggie Bush, nowhere to go there, cuts it back and gets back to the line of scrimmage. John Henderson making the stop. It'll be 2nd and 10.
You see Big John Jerry there, number 74. He's filling in at right guard. Vernon Carey not able to go today. He's inactive. And Jerry, who's actually been inactive 3 of the last 4 games, not because of injury, but he's been a healthy scratch for the Dolphins. And I think Tony Sperano giving him a chance to make a mark here, the 3rd-round pick of last year.
He's a healthy young man at 6'5", 328. Into a yard pickup on that last play on 2nd and 9. Moore throwing over the middle, and that's complete across the 40. Ball came loose, and it is ruled now an incomplete pass. Charles Clay out of the backfield couldn't hold on.
Oh, and Charles Clay has really opened some eyes here in Miami by his ability to catch the ball. He had 13 catches coming in. Great throw. He adjusted to it well, but when you hit the ground, if you haven't taken a couple steps and established possession, and that is a good call by the officials of ruling that incomplete. But Charles Clay, this Dolphins coaching staff, they really like this kid. Their 6th-round pick this year.
3rd and 9. Moore again with time on, coming across the middle. That's complete to Bess, and Bess out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. That's enough for a 1st down.
Well, when we talked to Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, he knows that Devon Bess is the guy that moves chains. And when he gets the ball in the open field, it's like a punt return from that point on. And again, good job by Matt Moore of leading Bess where he doesn't have to break stride. And what do you know? We had a reception and enough yardage for a 1st down. And there is Chuck Bresnahan.
How about when he told us he misses Al Davis in many ways, and certainly one way as a resource?
Well, if you are a coach, you love sitting and talking to Al Davis.
This is Bush. Bush with running room. Bush inside the 35-yard line. Matt Giordano finally with the stop after a 29-yard pickup.
Talk about a well-blocked play. This little toss to the left and then a complete counter back to the right. That's the way that play was designed. Reggie Bush gives the whole fake to the left. You can see he took Rolando McClain a good 5 steps the other direction. That is one of the best fake counters back to the other side I've seen in a while.
Reggie Bush 3 carries for 45 yards already today. 1st down. Moore down the far sideline, and that will sail out of bounds and beyond Anthony Fasano, the tight end.
And again, that's a throwaway. Matt Moore tossed that out of bounds intentionally. He was under pressure, and he did the best he could do to get rid of that without taking the intentional grounding. It's Oakland. .32 sacks. They have, and they're getting a lot of production from inside. Seymour with half a dozen. Tommy Kelly with 5.5.
Bush to the Oakland 30.
And again, Reggie Bush between the tackles, and that's, Reggie has been running this football for the Dolphins, not just on the edge. Here he is against the Giants. I mean, look at his ability. He was over 100 in that game. Here against the Chiefs, now that's just outstanding blocking. But nice change of direction in the open field. But he's always been able to do that. He is a gifted receiver. Sean Payton used him heavily in that way when he was in New Orleans.
And today, playing on his favorite surface.
He loves natural grass.
3rd and 7. Moore with plenty of time. Still looking and throws and complete inside the 20. We have a penalty marker on the far side of the field.
They're ruling he was out of bounds.
Meanwhile, we have a flag down on the far side of the field.
And it's in the secondary on the far side. And again, we're having trouble with Mike Carey's microphone. Illegal use of hands against the defense. And that's the penalty that brings an automatic 1st down.
And that yellow flag.
Yeah.
bugaboo hits the Oakland Raiders.
And the worst kind. On a third down, it moves the chains and gives you an automatic first down. You can't use those hands after the 5-yard mark.
We asked Hugh Jackson about that whole penalty problem, and he said that he thinks the team is getting better, and he says we're getting smarter, although it might take us till week 16 to work it out. First down. Bush dancing his way to about the 20. Pick up 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Well, this offensive line of the Dolphins is off to a pretty good start in this game. Matt Moore's hit the ground a couple times, but there's also a couple other times where he was standing back there in the pocket with all sorts of time and the ability to move around. It's a good run blocking group, especially on the left-hand side with Incognito and Long. And Mike Pouncey, the rookie at center, just like his brother in Pittsburgh, a real find.
Outside. That's complete to Hartline. And Hartline to about the 11. That'll be good for another.
Now some kudos to Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator. He's calling a game that's got a little bit of everything so far here in the first quarter for the Miami Dolphins. If you see the coverage off, and that's exactly what was happening there, Lito Shepherd was giving Hartline about an 8-yard cushion. That's, you just come up, that's an automatic. You come up and just toss it out there. Those are 3 yards.
9th play of this drive, 4 runs, 4 passes. Quick flip this way, and Brandon Marshall dragged up, still refusing to go down, looking for running room, is finally out of bounds.
Well, Stanford Routt, who's going to spend a lot of time on Brandon Marshall, was just sitting there waiting for Marshall to catch the pass. You see Brandon Marshall just flare out of there, but you know, Hartline was going to try to get a block on Stanford Routt. He couldn't do it. And that's a big, strong guy. Rout's hanging on for everything he's got, and just look how difficult it is to get Brandon Marshall on the ground. The Raiders never do get him down. All they do is force him out of bounds.
That's a loss of 8. So it's 2nd and 18. Moore to the end zone. Tipped in the air and complete.
Oh, boy. He and Devon Bess. I don't know where Matt Moore thought Bess was going, but he was wide open. And I think Matt Moore thought Bess was going to sit down, and Bess kept moving across the end zone, and the ball ends up way behind him. And that almost got intercepted. It looks to me like Matt Moore is expecting Devon Bess to sit in another location. Either that or it was just a terrible throw, one or the other. But Giordano almost picked that off.
Gives Moore and the Dolphins a 3rd and 18. Moore gonna run it. Penalty marker down as he gets to about the 6-yard line. The marker is in the backfield.
Well, it would be unusual if it's not holding, but given where that flag is, it is offensive holding against the Dolphins, and that'll negate that.
If I read Mike Carey's lips correctly, it's Richie Incognito, number 68.
As an offensive lineman, that's one of the situations where you're really glad the referee's microphone isn't working. That's the only guy in the stadium that's happy about it. On the left, there's Incognito working against Richard Seymour. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got him hooked pretty good. Seymour got the inside edge on him, and Incognito got that right hand. He actually had a hold of his shoulder pads right up around the neck.
3rd and 28.
You don't work on this in practice very much.
Moore on the run again. 20. Sliding down inside the 15-yard line, or right at the 15. He's going to set up a field goal attempt, another one for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, another situation of being in scoring position and having to settle for an attempted field goal. That's a really good pocket initially. Another pretty strong job by the offensive line of the Dolphins of protecting more.
So here's Carpenter. He was good from 48. This one from 33. And that is about as good as you can make it. Minute and a half to play in the first quarter. The Miami Dolphins lead Oakland 6-0.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the 2011 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Minute and a half to play here in the first quarter. 2 field goals for the Miami Dolphins, and they have a 6-0 lead as Carpenter kicks it away once again to Brian McCann. And once again, it will go through the end zone for a touchback. 2 straight 3-and-outs. Carson Palmer will see what he can do about that right after this. Back for the last minute and a half of the first quarter. Oakland with just 14 total yards in 2 possessions so far. Flip out to the far side, and this is Bush. Bush across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Got a sports fan on your list? CBSSports.com shop has officially licensed NFL gear and 3-day shipping on every order at shop.cbssports.com. And we have a Dolphin down on the far side, and that's Kevin Burnett.
Kevin Burnett and Carlos Dansby man the middle for the Dolphins. Burnett had a good run in San Diego before he signed with the Dolphins this year as a free agent. We'll see what's wrong with him when we come back.
Kevin Burnett was able to walk off the field under his own power. He is standing on the Miami sideline. He's been replaced by Marvin Mitchell, the 4th-year linebacker out of Tennessee. So Bush once again in the backfield. And the Raiders still looking for their first down of the afternoon. And there it is. Quick pass to the tight end, Kevin Boss. Let's get another update from JB and Boomer.
Safe to say Denver playing some inspired football, Boom.
Well, out of play against a rookie quarterback. Christian Potter's going to stare it all the way down. Mario Hagan's going to step in front. He's going to return it 16 yards for a touchdown. 7-2 Denver.
Broncos looking to add to their 4 straight road wins. Back to Greg Gumbel, Dan Dierdorf.
All right, guys, thank you. Meanwhile, Carson Palmer with time. Gonna go deep down the middle of the field. It is incomplete. Pass intended for Darius Hayward-Bay, and Vontae Davis was with it.
Well, Vontae Davis has such an upside, and the Dolphins will all tell you ever since Tony Sparano decided to sit him down 4 games ago. That's good coverage. You can see he's got the left hand behind Hayward-Bay, but he's not moving him. He's not pushing him with it. 56. That was really classic corner coverage. Well done by Davis.
Again, on 2nd and 10 sets up the screen. That one is falling incomplete. And Randy Starks looked like he almost had it to keep.
Randy Starks was looking like he was the intended receiver. He was standing there facing the quarterback. One of those like, hey, throw it to me. Look on the left side of your screen. Right, Randy, he was looking at that all the way. Well, he's got to be pretty frustrated with himself. He won't have many chances any easier than that for an interception as a defensive lineman.
Now on 3rd and 10. Here come the Dolphins. Palmer throwing far side of the field, and that is complete to Darius Hayward-Bay, out of bounds for a first down. 14-yard pickup.
And a nice adjustment by the Raiders. The Dolphins came with an all-out blitz. Jeremiah Bell, everybody coming, and Carson Palmer delivers a really nice pass to Darius Hayward-Bay. Sean Smith has got pretty decent coverage, but, you know, on a perfectly executed out pattern and throw, hard to make a difference.
And with that, time winds down here in the first quarter. Well, the first quarter has belonged to the Miami Dolphins, but a couple of first downs has Oakland rolling. We'll be back for the start of the second quarter at Sun Life Stadium in just a moment. As we begin the second quarter, first down for the Oakland Raiders at their own 48-yard line. And Palmer to throw. Threw it away.
There was no receiver anywhere near there, and I think Carson was still in the pocket. And there's the flag.
There's the flag. Carson Palmer saying that he was
intentional grounding. Offense number 3. 10-yard penalty. Loss of down. Third down.
There's no doubt about that. Carson was still well within the tackle box. He was basically directly behind the center, and there wasn't an eligible Raider receiver within 15 yards of that.
And we have Mike Carey's microphone replaced and working.
And he went into the body shop there in between quarters and got a wash and a wax, and away he goes.
Palmer. Complete inside the 45 to Darius Hayward-May, and we have another flag down in the backfield.
This could be holding. I wonder if they're going to call the right tackle for holding.
10-yard penalty is still second down.
Khalif Barnes it is. And the penalties beginning to pile up.
Yeah, Barnes is right here on the left. He's working against Koamisi. And Koamisi's going to get the edge on him right there, and you can see you can have that right arm out there, but when it is clear that you have impeded his progress, and right there Misi breaks loose, and there's just no way. That's going to bring the flag. It came from the linesman on the side, but he's responsible for that tackle.
Raiders have had 2 penalties in the first half minute of this second quarter. This is Bush. Bush brought down at about the 28-yard line. Yet another update from New York. JB and Boomer.
Pittsburgh, key play.
Well, this is how the quarterback's supposed to handle the rush. Step up, find your open receiver, Antonio Brown. He's going to take it 45 yards down the sideline. This is going to lead to a 3-yard Rashard Mendenhall touchdown run. Steelers lead the Bengals 7-0.
That capped a 9-play, 87-yard drive back to Greg Gumbel. Dan Deerdorf.
All right, guys, thank you. 3rd and 29. Just a 2-man rush thrown in the middle. It's incomplete. There's a marker down in the secondary. That is intercepted by Carr. And we have a marker down at midfield.
Illegal contact. Defense number 58.
Well, that's Carlos Dansby, the guy who intercepted the pass. Tony Sperano pleading his case, but that never works.
Illegal contact. Defense number 58. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
There he is right in the middle of the screen. You see Carlos Dansby on. Let's see if when he comes in. Well, we couldn't see. Kevin Boss was the intended receiver. Couldn't see anything on that look.
Dan, what
a huge conversion. Wow.
What was it that Tony Sperano was telling us he preaches to his guys about hidden yardage?
And there's a classic look at one right there.
Palmer to throw on first down. Under pressure. Throws far side of the field. And they rule it incomplete. Darius Hayward-Bay making the diving catch, but can't stay in bounds.
It was a heck of an effort. It's one thing if a penalty, Greg, negates yardage, but when it negates a turnover, and a turnover on the other team's side of the 50-yard line, that's doubly crippling. Well, that was some effort by Hayward-Bay, but he wasn't even close to getting any feet in bounds.
Once again, the Raiders missing Jacoby Ford today. They're missing Denarius Moore. Receiver. 2nd and 10. Bush. And Carlos Dansby is there for that stop.
Well, when this offensive team for the Raiders is healthy, I'm not sure there's an offense in the league that has quite as many explosive players. And Take a look at what's missing today. Now, Darren McFadden this is 5 games now that he's missed with that sprained foot. Moore and Ford, they didn't play last week. Taiwan Jones, who Hugh Jackson said is the fastest player that I've ever been around. Their 4th round pick, what an upside he's got. The Raiders need to get those guys back as they move through December.
Palmer under pressure and goes down back at the 24. Kevin Burnett back into the lineup.
And he goes right by Michael Bush. I'm not sure what Michael Bush was thinking. Look, he kind of got picked up by Carson. He got picked off by Carson Palmer. Right there, Bush jumps to the other side of Carson Palmer. He jumped to the left and then couldn't get back to the right to make the block. If he'd have just stayed still, he'd have picked him up easily.
Here's Shane Leckler with Best at the 16. Eludes one tackle, has a little running room. Across the 35 and down at about the 37-yard line. Jerome Boyd with the tackle on the special teams. Introducing NFL Magazine, the new official monthly magazine of the National Football League. Subscribe today at NFL.com/magazine.
Imagine Tim Tebow being on the cover of that. He hasn't been in the news at all.
First down for the Dolphins at their own 37. And the pitch for Reggie Bush, trying to turn the corner, and may have gotten a yard or 2 before he's knocked out of bounds. Rolando McClain and Chris Johnson in on that play.
Yeah, good job by Johnson getting up there and forcing the good containment.
Here are the numbers today. Carson Palmer and Matt Moore did even at 39 yards passing, but look at the difference in the running.
Yeah, 1 yard average versus about a 9-yard average.
And then on the receiving end, Brandon Marshall minus yards.
You don't see that every day. 2 receptions and still in negative yardage.
Daniel Thomas is in at running back now for the Dolphins. And Moore throws to a wide open Fasano. Inside the 40 and out of bounds at close to the 35 of the Oakland Raiders.
Well, after a certain period of time, it is inevitable that someone comes open. And it's just a question, can the quarterback find him? And in this case, Fasano got lost in the Raiders secondary, but that's all on the offensive line of Miami. I mean, Matt Moore really held on to this football for probably 5 to 6 seconds. And there's very few secondaries that are going to consistently be able to cover somebody for that long a time.
And that Oakland secondary also looking at Matt Moore as a legitimate threat to run.
24.
And we get a timeout called on the field. The Miami Dolphins use a timeout with 10:54 to play in the first half. They have the football and a 6-0 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars side by side at Autotrader.com. And by the Droid Razor by Motorola. Droid strong, razor sharp.
We welcome you back to Sun Life Stadium. Matt Moore and the Dolphin offense at the Oakland 35.
Lion.
Moore. Back Fasano inside the 25-yard line. 11-yard pickup and another first down.
Well, Anthony Fasano, Tony Sperano knew him when he was in Dallas, and that's where Fasano started his career. But you think of him as like a workman-like tight end, and yet already today he's got 2 receptions of 20-plus yards. He has the highest receiving average of anyone on the Dolphins roster. He's got about a yard per reception, bigger average than Brandon Marshall or Devon Bess or Hartline or any of the other guys. He's become a deep threat.
On the reverse, this is Bush to the 15. And that should be enough for another Miami first down.
Well, I mentioned Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator, throwing a lot of different things at the Raiders, and that's exactly, again, A nice misdirection and smart football there by Mike Pouncey of not making a block in the back. He allowed the defender to actually run himself out of the play, but he was able to pull up. Aaron Curry just went to the ground.
That tells you the story right there of how Oakland has been inefficient on offense today so far.
Well, they only had 36 total yards. That's weak.
Moore to the end zone. Diving attempt made on the far side by Brandon Marshall. Incomplete.
Well, Matt Giordano is down for the Raiders. Brandon Marshall working against the zone, and this throw is just late, and it's outside. Brandon Marshall was open. Mike Mitchell was not in a position to defend anything. And that was a heck of an effort by Brandon Marshall. If that ball would have come just a smidgen sooner, you'd have had a touchdown there.
Let's go back and take a look and see what happened to Matt Giordano.
He's right there, and what he is, he gets hit. Oh, and he gets hit right on the hip and the lower back by his own teammate Cameron Wembley. You see more defensive players where the injury happens a lot because they suffer some really heavy contact from one of their teammates. Guys flying in to make the hit, and sometimes they end up hitting each other.
And nothing you can do about that.
No, it's part of playing defense.
2nd and 10. Get to the outside, cuts back inside, and makes it as far as maybe the 12-yard line.
The ball was out. The officials on the spot ruling him down. A lot of change of direction there by Reggie Bush. What about 4 or 5 different cuts? Now the officials on the ground, they're blowing the whistle. His forward progress had stopped. We see the ball out there, but that appeared to be well after the official was blowing the whistle.
So now it's a 3rd and 8. Matt Giordano back onto the field for the Raiders.
Frustrating for the Dolphins last week against Dallas. 4 trips to the red zone. They had to kick 4 field goals.
Moore on the crossing pattern. That's complete. Touchdown, Devon Bess.
Well, not this time. Devon Bess, not the biggest of guys, but he loves to work the middle of the field, and he's matched up. Aaron Curry has man coverage on Bess, and he's got no chance. He's got no chance at all. Matt Moore puts the ball right out in front. He allows Bess to maintain his vision of who's coming at him even while he's making the catch. Excellent throw and great work by Devon Bess.
Dan, we talked about this during a timeout. There has been a lot of yardage to be gained in the middle of that Oakland defense so far this afternoon. Devon Bess celebrating his 2nd touchdown catch of the year. 13-0 Dolphins. Looking down from above, our aerial coverage today's game provided by DirecTV. This time, Dan Carpenter kicking into the wind. We'll see if Brian McCann gets a chance to return one. He will not. So Matt Moore taking a breather, and he'll watch his defense go to work.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sears. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Welcome back, everyone. It's a pretty easy looking touchdown, Dan.
Well, here's Devon Bess right here, and here's Aaron Curry. Look at Curry. He's got inside position. He's waiting on Bess, and then that one step forward he takes puts him completely out of position. And that's got to be really disappointing. You see the guy coming, you've got perfect position, and you take a misstep, and it throws you from being in the perfect spot to being completely out of it.
This is Lewis Murphy for a first down across the 30 out to about the 33.
You can see for the Raiders, 3 possessions, 2 of them 3 and out. The other one, they at least ran 10 plays, but they all ended exactly the same way with a Shane Leckler punt.
Meanwhile, Carson Palmer, 5 out of 10 throwing today, but just 1 of his last 5.
Well, no surprise to the Raiders that they're playing one of the better defenses they've seen all year.
Flips it over the middle, caught at midfield. Nice catch made by Michael Bush for a first down.
Well, this credit goes to the Raider offensive line here. There's a 5-man rush, and boy, did they block it well. And Carson Palmer able to look downfield. And again, Kevin Burnett is the guy that's got the man coverage on Michael Bush, and he's not able to stay with him. And that's where Bush, being 6'1", able to elevate, get up and get that high throw from Palmer, but good play.
On first down, another end around, and this is Murphy again coming this way. And a pickup of about 2 yards. He's out of bounds at about the 47 or maybe the 48-yard line.
You know, there's still some playmakers on the field here for the Raiders. You know, they've got guys that can be explosive, but their most explosive players are not playing. I mean, Darren McFadden, when he's healthy, any run he makes, he's capable of going the whole way. Jacoby Ford, anytime he catches a short pass, or especially on the return game, he's a threat to take it.
Palmer on 2nd and 8. Over the middle. That's complete and dropped. Kevin Boss appeared to have it for a moment.
Well, Carlos Dansby, I think, was running right with Boss. It's a matchup, I think, that the Raiders would have liked. Carlos Dansby, you can see right there, he's able to just be in a position where he's able to kind of paw at the arms of Kevin Boss, and he especially pulls that left one away before he can secure the football.
Dan, you were specifically asking Carson Palmer if they were intended to get Kevin Boss a little bit more active in the passing game.
And he said they were going to try it, well, especially considering, again, that Ford, Denarius Moore, not active today.
3rd and 8. Palmer popped up into the air, and it is incomplete. And again, intended for Boss.
And Kevin Burnett that time, the other inside linebacker, is the Dolphin in coverage. And you can see right now Carson Palmer trying to work the intermediate route. That should have been caught. That was a really good pass, and it almost deflected right to Hayward Bay. But that should have been caught initially. That was pretty well done by Palmer.
So now Leckler kicking with the wind. Devon Betts back at his own 10. Drifting off to the far side of the field and bouncing out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Hey, tonight on 60 Minutes, Michael Bublé's got the #1 Christmas album in the country and an inspiring success story to go along with it. You get a preview right now. Simply call *60, *60 from your mobile phone.
Well, that's Hugh Jackson, the head coach, talking to Carson Palmer. Jackson is actually his background was as an offensive coordinator, and he continues to call the plays for the Raiders.
And they go way back.
Yeah, way back. Carson Palmer was a junior in high school when Hugh Jackson started recruiting him to attend Southern Cal, where Jackson was on the staff.
This is Daniel Thomas. And Thomas across the 20 to about the 21-yard line, maybe the 22. Michael Huff and Tyvon Branch combining for the stop.
Well, Daniel Thomas was the Dolphins' second-round draft pick this year. He's had hamstring issues, which have really kind of hampered him this whole season. And again, though, he's a nice size running back, 6'1", 228. And he gives, he's capable of giving Reggie Bush a blow every now and then, but they want more than that from Thomas, and they think he's capable of delivering.
What is it? What?
Second and short yardage. Moore going to throw deep down this sideline for Hartline. Incomplete. Chris Johnson was there to bring it up.
Well, I like, that's a great down on 2nd and short to take a long shot at it. And again, that's just textbook coverage by Chris Johnson. And he's trying to find his way back and get his legs under him. He missed 7 games with a hamstring problem. He came back last week. And that's a test. They went after him intentionally, and he was able to stay with it.
3rd and 1. Bush is the deep back, but they'll give it to the first man through, and that was Lex Hilliard. And Hilliard has the first down.
Again, that's why you take that shot on 2nd and short, because you really don't plan on not being able to make it on 3rd and really short. Tony Sparano, and again, loves to run to that left side in short yardage situations behind Long and Incognito. And I don't know what's in that Pouncey DNA, but it's it works. Between Mike and Marquise, what a couple of football players they are going to be. Already are, but boy, the upside's huge.
Daniel Thomas goes nowhere courtesy of Lamar Houston.
Well, that was a meeting on the other side of the line of scrimmage by the Raiders. Now, how about this? We'll look straight down from the blimp.
I bet it doesn't get any better.
No, that is the MetLife blimp. Gave us a great look at it there. And wow, Lamar Houston was a good 3 yards in the Miami backfield. Poor Daniel Thomas. He's going in. This is nice. Thanks a lot.
2nd and 13. This is Thomas, and Thomas breaking through across the 40 to the 43 and a first down.
Well, the offensive line owed Thomas that one after the last one. That's how you pay a guy back. We'll give you a big hole, this time more to the right side. Take a look at this. Incognito comes around on the trap. A nice seal to the inside by John Jerry. Mark Colombo got a good block. And Jake Long, who is a real leader on this football team, an attaboy there for Daniel Thomas.
Brand new set of downs for Moore. Quick pass to this side. That's incomplete. Went right by Bush. It'll be 2nd and 10. We were talking with Jake yesterday. It just shocks me that he has been in the league as long as he has, because it seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it really does. This is his 4th year. And Tony Sparano, Jake's been under a little fire here in Florida. He's gotten some penalties and things like that. And Tony Sparano, I thought, was pretty spot on when he goes, I've been in this league before when I didn't have a franchise left tackle. Let me tell you, it's no fun when you don't have one. We have one. And they do have one. He's a heck of a player.
Moore, short pass. This is Bess. And Bess has run out of bounds at about the 40. And now we get a late flag and a little jostling. Jake Long doing some of the jawing down there. Here's Mike Carey.
After the ball was dead, personal foul. Offense number 68, a late dead ball foul, 15 yards. The down will count, 3rd down.
That's the 2nd penalty today on Richie Incognito.
Well, Richie Incognito, well, there he is on the top of your screen. And he comes in, he puts a great shot on Rolando McClain. And after he was being tied up with Jake Long, and he was out of the play, and the play was over. Incognito had huge problems with personal fouls after the whistle type things when he was with the Rams. He's really been pretty exemplary here in Miami. That's one of the few poor decisions.
On 2nd and 28, this is Bush up the middle, and he gets it to the 30. Tyvon Branch and Cameron Wembley making the stop.
When Cameron Wembley came in, boy, did he put a shot on Reggie Bush to finish that off.
And apparently there are still some unsettled issues.
Now, Tommy Kelly and Incognito. Richie Incognito, if he plays intelligent football, if he stays you know, if he keeps it all between the whistles, he's a really good football player.
Ryan McCann deep for the punt. Little bounce and take a Miami roll inside the 20-yard line and come to rest at the 17. 53-yard punt by Brandon Fields. 2 minutes to play in the first half of a 13-0 Miami lead. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. And Michael Bush in the backfield as the Raiders try to get something going before halftime. Palmer, far side of the field, and hits his man. That's Chaz Schillings out of bounds for a first down. Coming up, the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and the coach for all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
Well, Palmer took what he had. Vontae Davis gave Schillings a massive cushion on the far side. Schillings is going to line up against Davis once again. Up there at the top of your screen, and Davis has tightened it up.
Oakland with all three of its timeouts remaining. Palmer lets it go and finds his man on the far side, and it's once again Chaz Schillings.
Well, this time it's a zone, and Vontae Davis, he's going to let him go right there, and he's expecting the deep outside to be covered by Jeremiah Bell. But Bell is late coming over, and a good job by both Schillings and Palmer of settling right in between the two secondary players.
Oakland Raiders have done a good job of scoring points in the last 2 minutes of the first half. They have already moved to the Miami 37. Palmer steps up, throws it this way this time, and that's complete to Darius Hayward-Bay.
Well, this is really necessary for Oakland on a lot of different levels. Obviously, they have no points.
Now we have a penalty marker down.
But they don't score many points in the second half.
Offense number 69.
Wow.
10-yard penalty is still first down.
Another Raider penalty. And that's Khalif Barnes. This is going to be his second hold of the game. Right, working against Cameron Wake, and he just rides him. Riding him is okay. That's not a problem. It's not your fault that the defensive end is going to get low, but the officials ruled that he hooked him with the right arm, denied him his inside move, and dragged him down.
So now it's first and 20 from the 47. Palmer off the hand of TJ Houshmandzadeh. First time today he's thrown in the direction of his former teammate in Cincinnati.
And that would have been some completion there. Sean Smith had pretty good coverage. Again, the Raiders, you know, they were in good field position with a lot of time left, and it just gets negated and another 10 yards put on because of another penalty.
You know what's scary, Dan? The Raiders with Sebastian Janikowski are in field goal range.
Oh, going this direction? Absolutely.
Palmer. Kick at the 45. Vontae Davis.
Well, Carson Palmer is accounting for the protection, but he doesn't count on a corner blitz, and that's what the Dolphins did.
Timeout, Oakland.
It's the old zone blitz. Here's Cameron Wake. Watch him drop away, and Carson Palmer doesn't see coming to the backside is Vontae Davis on the corner blitz. And that is, again, a confusing coverage. A defensive lineman drops into coverage, and a corner comes on the blitz. That was well executed.
Palmer looking at third and forever. He needs to get to the 27-yard line of the Dolphins. And he threw it away.
Well, that time Carson Palmer was outside the tackle box, and that's how he got away with that. And he was lucky to get out of the tackle box. It collapsed around him. And the penalty really, it cost the Raiders some outstanding field position and a scoring opportunity.
You know, we were talking about Sebastian Janikowski. During warm-ups, he kicked a 64-yard field goal with room to spare.
He put it up into the screen.
Leckler moves one out of there. Best going to let that one fall, and he plants it inside the 10-yard line.
That's the best punter in football by a wide margin, Shane Leckler.
1:13 to play in the first half. We remind you tonight on CBS, has Team NFL gone native? 4 teams remain with only 2 episodes to go. All new Amazing Race tonight, only CBS. Carson Palmer just 8 of 17 in this first half.
Well, when we talked with Carson, he knew in watching the tape getting ready for this game what he was facing in this Dolphins defense. And, you hear it all the time. Well, this team is better than their record. This defense is better than their record. At times their offense hasn't been, but this defense is better than their record.
This is Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas moves the pile. Raiders with a 1-game lead on this afternoon's play.
Denver's losing to Minnesota right now, and of course the biggest surprise right there is at the bottom when you look at the Chargers at 4-7. Who saw that coming? Not I, I'll tell you that.
Actually, what it is, Dan, is they just haven't staged their annual late in the season charge.
It would be a nice time to stage it. I don't, the way they've looked, the way they've been playing, man, I don't see it coming. But a lot of kudos to Hugh Jackson and the whole Raider organization. They had to go, Al Davis died, and they had to work through that. And I'll tell you, I am a Hugh Jackson fan. I'm impressed with the way he goes about his business, the way he runs a football team.
Daniel Thomas hit right at the line of scrimmage by Rolando McClain. That's McClain's 3rd tackle of the day, and Oakland uses its 3rd and final timeout to stop the clock at 1:02.
And there will be some time left on the clock if they can force Miami to punt. There won't be a lot, but at least a chance at a decent return. And again, with Janikowski having the wind at his back.
And with Miami kicking into the wind, there is always the possibility of a fair catch and a free kick.
Haven't seen that one in a while.
I actually saw that work when I was a kid at Soldier Field in Chicago. The Bears did that against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, that's how long that rule's been on the books. Well, it doesn't matter here unless the Raiders are able to keep Miami from converting here on this 3rd and 4.
Reggie Bush is the back behind Moore. And Moore going to throw for it, and he's got Fasano, and Fasano with a first down across the 20 to about the 22 or 23-yard line.
Well, and that, as they say, is that as far as the Raiders getting the ball. And how about that for showing some confidence in the guy who started the year as your backup quarterback in Matt Moore, and allowing him to throw the football to convert it. An incompletion gives the Raiders a lot of time left on the clock, and Moore paid his coach back for the expression of confidence.
Pretty nice first half for Mr. Fasano. 4 catches for 66 yards. And this is Bush. And that looks like that'll be the final play of this first half.
But look at the way Reggie Bush finishes that run. I mean, he puts his shoulder down, just explodes into the tackler. This is not the Reggie Bush that we saw when he first got to the National Football League. Kudos to him for how he's becoming a physical player. Watch him finish this run. He gets right into Wembley, gets some leverage, gets low.
10 carries for 79 yards here in the first half, while his counterpart, Michael Bush, finishes the first half with 5 carries for 5 total yards. And there is your halftime score. The Miami Dolphins have had it all their way here in the first half. 13-0 over Oakland. We're coming back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Bush with running room. Moore The crossing pattern, that's complete. Touchdown, Devon Best. And as we get set to start the second half here in Miami, the Dolphins with a 13-0 lead on the Oakland Raiders. Let's take a look at the Droid Razor play presented by Motorola.
Well, it was a strong first half by Miami, and again, Mike, look at the great blocking, the teamwork up front, and then Devon Best coming on the crossing pattern. He looks it in, a perfect strike from Matt Moore, and just a superlative first half by the Dolphins.
The funny thing is that Greg Gumbel, along with Dan Deerdorf, that as we've heard and as we've mentioned so far, if you ignore the Miami defense, you do so at your own peril.
Yeah, they've been playing pretty good football all season long. The Raiders aren't a great second half team. Let's see what they can do.
We just completed a halftime ceremony here in Miami where Jim Mandich was added to the Miami Honor Roll. Don Shula is here, as was Larry Zonka and a host of others. And Jim Mandich's name and number went up here in Sun Life Stadium, and I'm wondering how you managed to get through it, because I know Jim Mandich is a longtime friend of yours.
Well, yeah, you could say that. I was a senior in high school when I went on a recruiting trip to the University of Michigan, and Jim Mandich was my chaperone. And we played side by side for 3 years at the University of Michigan. And the only thing I can say, he was the best of us all. He was the best player on our team, and an icon here in South Florida. They love him, and justifiably so.
This is Clyde Gates on the return, right up the middle and to the outside. Gates trying to break free. Knocked out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. A 78-yard return to get the Dolphins started here in the second half.
Well, and that's where, as a coach, I'm sure Hugh Jackson had some really good words for his football team about how we're going to start and attack this second half. And it kind of goes up in smoke when the first thing you do is give up a big punt return like that to Clyde Gates. A kickoff return rather. That kind of, now your defense. And keep in mind, Sebastian Janikowski, I've seen some attempted tackles before, but that was an interesting technique about 4 yards behind him.
Officially a 77-yard return, and that's Reggie Bush going for about 4 or 5, close to the 20-yard line.
Well, again, we talked about the Dolphins being in this position and having to settle for field goals. It's been a real problem with them lately. They're not officially in the red zone yet. They're about a yard and a half away. Tony Sperano knows that if they had just converted Dallas on Thanksgiving, that they had a really good chance of beating the Cowboys and having a 4-game winning streak.
And Moore didn't like what he saw and called a timeout. So 14:06 still to play here in the third, and the Dolphins use a TO. As you look at the first half stats, take a look at that last statistic. The Raiders
out too.
The Raiders, with just one play of 20 or more yards, they began the day leading the league with 62 plays of 20-plus yards.
And third down conversions, only 1 of 6 for Oakland.
Moore going to throw on 2nd and 6, going for the end zone, and it is incomplete in the penalty marker. And another marker. Stanford route on Charles Clay at the goal line.
And it's the classic situation where I don't believe Stanford route was turned around playing the football.
Pass interference. Defense number 26 from the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
All right, right here at the bottom. He really hooks him. And when you hook and move, you can have that left arm on a guy, but when you see his torso actually being moved because of your arm being there, that's automatic. You can plead that all you want, but that's really easy to see.
First and goal. Bush, easy into the end zone for the touchdown.
Wow, that was close. That was as easy. I'm struggling for words here. That was close to a concession by the Raiders defense right here. Look at this. Man, that is tremendous block by Jake Long over on the left, and that was one of those where it seemed like everybody in a black jersey was pretty happy to be blocked.
Reggie Bush with his 5th rushing touchdown of the year.
Again, the greater struggle in the Eastern time zone.
Extra point is good.
1-8 in their last trips, and they don't look to be improving on that number now.
Not today. Not yet.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Garmin. Give a Garmin GPS this holiday season. And by Acura. Acura Advance.
Nice sights of South Beach. And Rock Cartwright will not get a chance to return this one. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, the Dolphins go to a heavy formation. They put tackle Nate Garner. This is Garner over here. Watch his seal block this way. Here comes Jake Long with the seal block to the inside. And Aaron Curry, he just completely overruns the play. And the one thing about that 1-yard run, that would have been a touchdown from the other 1-yard line. It's just that it would have been a 99-yard run by Reggie Bush.
20-0 Miami. Palmer and company from their own 20-yard line. And Palmer to throw, far side of the field. He has his man, and out of bounds, Jazz Schillings. Schillings starting at wide receiver because of the absence of Jacoby Ford and Denarius Moore.
And it does leave a sizable playmaking ability. And you can see right there a good job by Schillings of selling the deep route, and to the point where Sean Smith actually lost his footing and fell down. But right now, playing the run, not much of a concern to the Miami defense.
On 2nd and 1, this is Michael Bush. And Bush gets the first down just barely across the 30-yard line. And Michael Bush has yet to make an impact on this game. 6 carries, 7 yards.
Yeah, and when a running back like Michael Bush has 7 yards and 6 carries, I don't lay a whole bunch of the blame at his doorstep. That's a lack of blocking up front. I think Khalif Barnes at right tackle has been replaced by Stephon Hyler.
Little pop over the middle is incomplete. Bush out of the backfield.
Carson Palmer on the ground. And Greg just mentioned the raw stats for Michael Bush today. And take a look at it. There's nothing there, nothing there. And this is just a case where the Miami defense has been winning at the line of scrimmage. They've been flying to the football. And to this point, Miami is the team that's playing like the playoffs are what's dangling out in front of them.
Palmer eludes the pressure, throws incomplete. Darius Hayward-Bay turning inside, the ball went right by him.
Well, Cameron Wake is such a pure pass rusher. Let's take a look at it this side as he's working there against Valdir, and he just beats him across his face and puts Palmer on the ground. As an offensive tackle, you've got to strike, you've got to put a hit on him, and you've got to interrupt that direct route to the quarterback. Can't make it that easy.
Carson Palmer just 5 completions in his last 15 attempts. Over the middle. Knocked down. Pass intended for Louis Murphy, and Will Allen made the play.
Well, Will Allen, he's been in this league for a long time. And take a look at this. Good coverage, man coverage all the way, running with him. That's, Louis Murphy's looking around like he's looking for a flag. That was tight coverage.
Leckler booms this one out of there. Betts back to his own 13-yard line. Penalty marker flies. That'll be an illegal block, so whatever happens on this play, it's coming back.
Devon Best hit the ground hard there right in front of the Miami bench, and he's still down.
During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 32. Half the distance to goal. First down, timeout.
So we'll take a break here in Miami. 20-0 Dolphins. Dolphins from inside their own 10-yard line. And this is Daniel Thomas, who will just nose it across the 10 to about the 11. And Orlando McClain finally puts him down to the ground as we take a look from above. Our aerial coverage today provided by MetLife with our thanks.
Well, there was no disguising that last formation that the Dolphins were in. That was a run all the way formation. And some of the Raider fans traveled.
The black hole goes cross country.
It goes to South Beach.
On 2nd and 7, play action. Moore throwing, and that is complete out to the 25-yard line. No, incomplete. Oh, that's just Clay couldn't hold on.
Boy, Charles Clay in the first half had a shot at one and wasn't able to control it. Dolphins coach is just raving about him, and that's a pretty. That is a darn good throw from Carson Palmer, and that didn't even come out when he hit the ground. Clay dropped that right off the bat. I think I said Carson Palmer. Obviously, he plays for the Raiders. Matt Moore again, though. That's the second time he's hit Charles Clay with a very, very catchable ball.
3rd and 7. Moore gonna crank this one up and throw for Brandon Marshall.
Oh, nice. The Raiders are, Giordano's in there going after it like it was a loose ball. I'd like to take a look at this to see if it's really a catch. Matt Moore doing everything he can do to get the Dolphins up to the line to run a play. I think Hugh Jackson's going to take a timeout. There's no question. He was on the ground long enough with control of that football.
So Oakland uses a timeout here. They'll look at the replays. We'll take a break.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Philips Norelco SensoTouch 3D. A great shave, dry or wet, with gel or foam. And by the Droid Razor. Thin is no longer frail, only at Verizon.
First down for the Dolphins at midfield, and straight ahead is Daniel Thomas, and Thomas inside the 45 to the 43 for a 7-yard pickup.
Well, Hugh Jackson took a timeout there because he wanted to look at that catch by Brandon Marshall, and he didn't like what he saw because it was a tremendous effort by Marshall. He kept possession of the football. The ball didn't get knocked out until well after the play was over. So he used the timeout, but then had no place to go afterwards. I think his intent, take the timeout and then ascertain it was not a catch. Job.
On 2nd down once again of Thomas, and Thomas maybe a yard, maybe 2. Orlando McClain.
Let's go back one more time. Look at Brandon Marshall elevate for that Lito Shepherd. Pretty good coverage, but he's down by contact right there. Complete control of the football, and then as he rolls all the way over, it gets poked out. But that was some effort by Brandon Marshall.
And now the Dolphins with 3rd and 1. And the play clock is down to 10 already, and they haven't broken the huddle.
Well, they brought in their heavy package. They better hustle this up there.
And they reset the play clock now. This is Hilliard. And Hilliard with the first down. Let's get an update from New York once again. James Brown. Boomer Esiason. What you got?
Simply, Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow's 4-6, 29 yards in the first half. Second half, game's close. Demaryius Thomas down the sideline, 21 yards. Tack on the extra point, 15-14. Vikings still in the lead.
Back to Greg and Dan.
Well, he threw that. He didn't run it in. That was, of course, every quarterback likes a receiver that wide open in the end zone.
New set of down for Matt Moore and the Dolphins from the Oakland 38. straight ahead is Reggie Bush.
And right now for Chuck Bresnahan and the Raiders defense, it's trying to control this Miami offense in the running game because they're dominating the line of scrimmage, and Reggie Bush is one of the real recipients of it. Take a look at that power sweep. That's what Bush does best, out on the edge. But look at the change of direction here, and that's a design play. You can see his blockers are out in front. That was a great design by offensive coordinator Brian Dable. And with power and still the change of direction, Reggie Bush will take it up the middle. But the Dolphins are dominating the line of scrimmage.
13 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. And Aaron Curry.
Encroachment. Defense number 51, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And you know, Hugh Jackson may say his team is getting smarter, but the penalty markers just keep on flying.
Well, that's just Aaron Curry trying to time the blitz. And give a little credit to Matt Moore on the other side. He used the cadence that he changed it up and got Curry to jump. But you're right, at some point in time, you can talk about getting better in the penalty department, but all that really counts at the end of the day is how many did you have.
Each team with 6 of them today. Bush. Close to the 28-yard line. John Henderson making the stop for the Raiders. 7:40 to play here in the third. And Carson Palmer, a frustrating 9 for 21 today for 110 yards.
And Minnesota is leading Denver by a single point, 15-14 at this point. And so a great deal at stake for the Raiders as they try to hold on to their lead in the AFC West.
Another 3rd and 1, and this is Hilliard again. First man through, first down.
Well, that's just old-fashioned. I'm going to root you off the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what this offensive line of Miami is doing.
It makes a point, doesn't it, Dan?
Yes, it does. Look at that great double team. John Cherry, Mark Colombo, Mike Pouncey gets a good look. Look at this surge. Look at the white hats are underneath the silver ones.
And we have John Henderson down on the field.
Boy, it seems hard to believe that Henderson's been in the league 10 years already.
They'll look at John Henderson. We'll take a break. 6:51 to play in the third. John Henderson walked off the field under his own power, being looked at on the sideline. Meanwhile, the pitch here for Reggie Bush. And Bush rode out of bounds at about the 23-yard line by Aaron Curry. Now, and the Home Depot tunes to victory, Dan. You said go east, young men, but what you left unanswered was go east and play well.
Yeah, and again, Hugh Jackson they came in on Friday. He said they practice early, trying to make sure that their body clocks are adjusted to, what is a 10 o'clock start out on the Pacific Coast. They come into the complex at 6:30 or 7 in the morning. They're on the practice field at 10. He doesn't know what else to do, and I'm not sure there's an answer.
And around, Clyde Gates. Gates spinning out of a tackle at the 20, and here's a penalty marker.
The other side of that, Greg, is there are a lot of teams from the Eastern time zone that have really terrible records when they have to go all the way west as well.
All indications are this is still another Raider penalty.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 92 of the defense for throwing a punch. Number 92 is ejected. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Richard Seymour has been ejected from the game.
Hugh Jackson wants an explanation. Let's see if we can provide one.
There he is right there. Right in the middle of, he's going against Richie Incognito.
If there was a punch thrown, it had to be with a left. I couldn't see it from the angle that we were at.
I didn't see a haymaker involved there. Well, Mike Carey said that Seymour has been ejected, which means he has to leave the sideline. You're not allowed to stay on the sideline if you've truly been ejected. There he is right there, 92 right. Oh, right there.
The left hand, right?
Yeah, you could see that Incognito's helmet You could see it move. I'm sure they're telling Seymour that he's got to go inside. He can't stay on the sideline.
1st and goal. The give is to Reggie Bush. And Bush to about the 7, maybe even the 6-yard line.
Well, Richie Incognito has gotten under a lot of people's skins and on their nerves over the years. Well, Richard Seymour has, affectionately known as the Godfather. There he dropped Ben Roethlisberger. This is this year with Tom Brady. It's a physical game. He got the penalty for throwing him to the ground. And again, that's Ben Jarvis Green Ellis with the ball. And then down low, he hits Matt Schaub. Richard Seymour doesn't have the reputation as a dirty player. He's an aggressive player. You talk to him, he's a real gentleman.
A talented one, 6-time Pro Bowler.
Oh, yeah. Multiple Super Bowl rings.
Meanwhile, Tommy Kelly is now down on the field for the Raiders.
Well,
he's just up and walking off there.
Well, they're the 2 starting defensive tackles, and Seymour is on his way to the locker room. Yeah, the NFL has had that rule in place for a long time. If you're ejected, you have got to vacate the premises.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
No, you got to go sit in the locker room.
Meanwhile, Miami has a 2nd and goal from the 6. Trevor Scott has replaced Tommy Kelly on the defensive line.
And right now the Raiders need to realize they still have to play 20 minutes of football. And you can either play it aggressively and hard, or you can roll over.
2nd and goal, 4, straight up the middle.
Well, this has been an impressive performance by the Miami offensive line. They have played good football here today. And if Jim Mandich were here, he'd say, all right, Miami.
Matt Moore, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season is good. 5:01 to play in the 3rd.
Well, again, just a nice little fake to the left. But again, look at the blocks up front. John Jerry right there cleared the path. And that tackle by Michael Huff doesn't even occur until Matt Moore is already in the end zone.
Now, the Raiders have had problems with running quarterbacks in recent weeks. Go back to Week 9 against Denver. Tim Tebow hit them for 118 yards on the ground. Then at Minnesota, the rookie Christian Ponder ran for 71 yards on 5 carries. And last week, Caleb Haney had 50 rushing yards on 5 carries. That just doesn't speak well for a rushing defense.
Well, although last week you gotta say that overall they did a pretty good job against the Bears in a game that they won. And the last time I checked, Mr. Tebow has been making it tough on everybody running the football. But you're right. Today, this is just a story. It's very simple. The front 7 of the Raiders is getting handled by the offensive front of the Miami Dolphins. And needless to say, the Miami defense is throwing a shutout on the Raiders.
Ryan McCann in the end zone.
You kind of got the feeling, Greg, with that kickoff return to start the 2nd half, a lot of the wind left the Raiders' sails.
The Raiders, once again, will start from their own 20-yard line. While we have the opportunity, we'll remind you Thursday here on CBS, the next person these 2 heroes must protect is the one person who can blow their cover. Person of interest. New episode Thursday, only CBS. Well, Dan, this is the kind of situation where a lot of coaches look and say to themselves, this is where I find out what kind of guys I have playing for me.
Yeah, if the Raiders go on and lose this game, I don't think we write them out of the playoff picture. Not far from it. But it sure is disappointing to not put up more of a struggle.
That pass is incomplete, intended for Kevin Boss.
But, the other side of it is, you got to give an awful lot of credit to the guys in the white jersey. The Dolphins are playing spirited, aggressive, hard-nosed football. And if you think that these guys aren't playing because they have a certain degree of affection for Tony Sparano, you don't know much about the game of football.
Here in the second half, Carson Palmer, 1 completion in 5 attempts for 9 yards. Palmer over the middle, bouncing around, intercepted, picked off by Kevin Burnett. Burnett, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
I'm not looking at Kevin Burnett's bio, but he played running back somewhere when he was a kid. That was some really nice open field running by Kevin Burnett. He got the deflection, but he made the most of it.
34-yard return for the touchdown.
And 34 is about what the Dolphins are ready to have. Okay, Carson Palmer. Pretty good pocket initially, but then the ball he floats it, and he was trying to hit Louis Murphy. I couldn't tell if it hit Murphy's hands first, and then the Miami defense starts blocking for Burnett. Take a look at that one right there. That was Carlos Dansby. Carson Palmer's been to a few rodeos. He's had this happen before, but this is unpleasant. Well, you play long enough, you're going to have a number of interceptions run back for touchdowns, and Carson Palmer has certainly had that happen to him. These are last year, his final year in Cincinnati. And then in Kansas City.
He had that relief disaster.
Well, yeah, that's really, he wasn't expecting to play. Kyle Bowler started that game and threw 3 interceptions, and then Carson was forced in there. I'm not sure how he was even in the game. He really had been in a Raider uniform about 72 hours before he had to do it.
Not since October of the 09 season had the Miami Dolphins returned an interception for a touchdown. That was Vontae Davis. Good for 23 yards, and Kevin Burnett does it here today. That one goes nowhere.
Now Carson hit when he threw.
2nd and 10.
And Carson going no huddle. And really, you have no choice.
Carson Palmer has now thrown 6 straight incompletions. That one to Chad Schillens. And Schillens, forward progress can be marked at about the 29. It'll be a yard short of the first down.
Khalif Barnes over there to congratulate his receiver. Palmer goes on the quarterback sneak and does move the chains. And just possessing the ball for a while would be nice for the Raiders.
These Raiders Those are a couple of tough stops coming up.
Yeah, they really are. And, you know, they do get to finish at home against San Diego, but they have to go to Arrowhead as well. That's a tough place to win.
Palmer throws out into the flat, and that is complete, but not for very much yardage. Brandon Myers, and we've got a penalty marker.
Did Palmer get hit low?
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 91, a bloated helmet to helmet. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Cameron Wake.
Oh, they're getting Wake for a helmet to helmet. Wake's on the far side, he's going to go over. Well, Cameron Wake, now that is unintentional. He's on the ground. Cameron Wake is on all fours and is scrambling to get back up to not hit Carson Palmer low. And his helmet hits Palmer in the chest, and then it rides up, and the top of it hits him in the chin. It is a penalty, but that was unintentional by Cameron Wake.
Palmer giving to Bush, and Bush to midfield. Carlos Dansby with the stop there as we duck under 3.5 minutes to play here in the third.
Well, it would really be nice to see the Raiders put together, just in terms of feeling a little bit better about yourselves, putting together a good, solid offensive drives that result in get something out of us, at least a field goal.
On second down, that pass is incomplete. Dan, it's worth asking the question. You know, we've talked a lot about the Rolando McClain situation, and I know that players talk about the possibility of distractions all the time. Did you think that was worthy of being termed a distraction to this team?
Well, I don't know that it contributes. I don't know if it's the factor and the reason that they're down 34-0. Was it a distraction? Sure. Hugh Jackson was furious. You send a player, you give him permission to go attend his grandfather's funeral, and he ends up being arrested on a gun charge.
That's a quick slant, and it is ruled incomplete.
Now, keep in mind that, Rolando McClain, everything is alleged, and who knows what happens when all the facts are determined. But anyway you look at it, he still was in a situation where he shouldn't have been.
And we spoke with Hugh Jackson yesterday, and he was confident that he had all of the pertinent information.
Yeah. There's I think some belief in the Raider organization that some things are going to come out that are going to be in McClain's favor.
Devon Bess is deep. Leckler booms this one all the way into the end zone. We have a penalty marker down on this side of the field.
About the 48-yard line or so, in front of the Miami bench.
An eligible member of the kicking team downfield on the offense, number 82. Miami's elected to take it to the dead ball spot. First down.
Well, we have a moment. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS tracks the playoff push doubleheader game. First, Dan and I will be in the nation's capital as the New England Patriots take on the Washington Redskins, or the Chiefs battle the Jets, and then Carson Palmer and these Raiders go up against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Check your local listings. It all begins with the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. From the 25-yard line, Reggie Bush left side, out across the 30.
Yeah, it doesn't, needless to say, get any easier for the Raiders in a classic understatement, having to travel to Green Bay to play the Packers. And it's, that's why this game here has to be so disappointing to everyone involved with the Raiders. If you think it's tough winning in Miami, wait till you get a load of Lambeau Field.
Reggie Bush, his second 100-yard game this year, the third of his career. Looking to add to it here, and still on his feet. 35 penalty markers are down. He's across midfield and into Oakland territory.
Holding offense, number 51. 10-yard period, still second down.
Mike Pouncey, the center, guilty of this one.
Well, sure, it's going to bring it back, but what a performance, what an effort by Reggie Bush, fighting through tackles, staying alive. And again, look at him challenged Tyvon Branch at the end of that run. And there is Mike Pouncey, the #1 draft pick of the Dolphins.
If this is wrestling, he would have been credited for a nice takedown.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Mike Pouncey is going to be one of those guys that when he's like a 5 or 6 year guy, he's going to be with some teammates and he's going to talk about, yeah, I remember back my rookie year, and they will say, Mike, you were never a rookie.
Daniel Thomas, left side, running room. Across the 35, that's a first down for the Dolphins.
And there's Mike Pouncey showing the ability and the agility. He's going to pull. Watch him here at center. He's going to pull out and get the kickout block. Now, let me tell you something. That is not easy to snap the football, drop your hips, rotate, and get out with a kickout block on Cameron Windley the way he did. Not many centers could do that.
First down, Miami.
Remember Kevin Mawai, how he could pull and run?
They fake the end around. Moore gonna throw it. Far side. Caught by Brandon Marshall.
I'll tell you one thing, if the Dolphins had played like this all year, they'd be 8-3, not 3-8. Take a look at this, and again, by the time that Chris Johnson turns around, it's too late. The ball's closer than he anticipated, and Brandon Marshall brings it in, and another sweet throw by Matt Moore. And again, the 20-plus, who would ever imagine that the Dolphins are the team that has become a big play offense?
355 total yards to 133. This is Bush. Going nowhere this time, and that's Rolando McClain as the third quarter winds down. That's the end of 3. Read it and weep, Raider fans. 34-0 Miami. We're coming back to Sun Life Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Along with our producer Mark Wolf and our director Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, the rest of our CBS Sports crew as we start the fourth quarter, and the Miami Dolphins very much in charge. And that Moore throw sets up the screen, and that's out of the arms of Reggie Bush and incomplete. Aaron Curry with a huge hit.
A huge hit is right. He timed that thing out. Boy, linebackers love that. He timed it perfectly. That's where practice pays off.
Look out, Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie barely got turned around before he got separated from football and almost his shoes.
3rd and 12.
Boy, Miami's had a bunch of big plays today.
Matt Moore can't get everybody right.
Had to do that a number of times today.
So he uses Miami's second timeout here in the second half.
For the same reason.
Well, while we have a moment, Saturday, CBS Sports presents one of the most storied and illustrious spectacles in all of sports. It's all guts, all grit, all glory. It's the Army-Navy game presented by USAA, and it all begins with college football today.
So, Greg, here's Miami needing another big play. Keep in mind today, Fasano has a 26-yard catch, a 22-yard catch. Reggie Bush has a 29-yard run. Marshall has a 38-yard catch, a 26-yard catch, and then on top of it all, you add in Gates in his 77-yard kickoff return.
And again, it bears repeating. The Raiders arrived today, #1 in the NFL in plays of 20-plus yards with 62 of them. 3rd and 12. Moore going to go for it all. Brandon Marshall. Incomplete inside the 5-yard line.
Credit Matt Giordano, the safety. He had the deep coverage, and his position kept Marshall, I think, from adjusting back into the football. Chris Johnson's underneath. Coming in from the left, there's Giordano. And at the last second, I think Brandon Marshall would have loved to have cut back in to try to make a play on that football, but Giordano had too good a position.
So Brian McCann deep. try to pin the Raiders deep in their own end zone. This one looks like it'll reach the end zone, however, and that'll be a touchback. 14:40 to play here in the fourth quarter. It's all Miami. One more chance to thank the folks up above. Our aerial coverage today provided by MetLife. The Raiders from their own 20-yard line, and those numbers are just staggering.
28 yards rushing, 133 yards in total offense. And you know that 28 yards rushing, and Michael Bush just added a couple to that total. Keep in mind, this was the fourth best rushing team in the league coming into today's game, averaging almost 150 yards a game. Now, granted, it's gotten away from him here in the second half, but still, 133 yards of offense through 3 quarters of play is, to say it's substandard is really an understatement.
Carson Palmer throwing down the far sideline, and that's incomplete. The last time the Miami Dolphins pitched a shutout was back in the 06 season. They beat the New England Patriots 21-0. The last time the Oakland Raiders were shut out 5 weeks ago against Kansas City.
We don't have to go too far back. Now again, that Kansas City was that debacle where Bowler and Palmer between them threw 6 picks.
3rd and 7.
Where we go? 58, 58. 58.
Palmer, short drop, quick pass, incomplete. That slant didn't work. There were more Dolphins than Raiders in the vicinity. TJ Hushmanzada, the intended receiver.
Well, most passes are incomplete when your intended receiver's on the ground. I've never seen the exact number, but it's pretty high, I think.
I think you're on good ground there. Devon Best deep. They'll let it bounce. Takes a sideways bounce and comes to a stop at about the Miami 31-yard line. 13:49 to play in the fourth quarter. Dolphins.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Walmart. Save money, live better. Walmart. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today.
If you're an Oakland Raider fan, it's been ugly. The Dolphins, first down from the 32. Bush trying to turn the corner and know where to go. Starting today, this is how the AFC playoff picture looked, with Houston, New England, Baltimore, Oakland leading their respective divisions, and then Pittsburgh and Cincinnati out of the AFC North. And right now the Steelers have the lead on Cincinnati and all those other teams in the hunt.
Well, Denver is in a tough one with Minnesota right now. And right now Oakland, they have become huge Vikings fans.
This is the rookie Daniel Thomas. And a helmet comes out of the pile. That helmet belongs to number 75, Nate Garner.
And a big helmet it is too. Nate Garner is one of those guys with the injury at right guard to Vernon Carey. Garner is such a valuable guy because he plays tight end in short yardage situations. He can do so many different things that Tony Sperano didn't want to start him because he was too valuable doing all the other things. And we saw him get a great block on that touchdown run by Reggie Bush in the first half when he was playing tight end.
Moore on 3rd and 13. Throwing out to the 35-yard line to Devon Best. And that'll be well short of a first down, so the Dolphins will have to kick it away. Matt Moore today, 13 out of 25 for 162 yards and a touchdown.
It's not a very good percentage. It's barely over 50%.
But it's been efficient enough for what's been happening here today.
Yes, it is.
Oh, look at this kid from Brandon Fields. And bouncing and rolling. the 1-yard line, at the half-yard line. Let's see.
When's the last time you saw a football take a right turn like that? Now they're going to rule it a touchback.
That ball bounces inside the 5 and appeared to hit the goal line.
Well, Brian McCann wisely lets this ball bounce, and it's this hop right here. Watch it come down. The official rules that on that hop right there, the nose of the football touched the goal line, and that's all it takes to be a touchback.
Send that Brandon Fields back for some more practice.
It's not every day you see a
From
football.
start, offense number 69, 5-yard penalty is still for.
Khalif Barnes has had his fair share of the penalty calls today.
Well, unofficially, I think he's had 2 holding calls, and then that false start.
Carson Palmer, meanwhile, this half, 3 for 13, 19 yards and an interception. First and 15, this is Michael Bush. And that's kind of the day he's had. Carlos Dansby with the tackle.
And I agree with Hugh Jackson and his play calling here. When you're down 34-0, I think you hate to ever mouth the words, but you're not going to win this game. So don't expose Carson Palmer to throwing the football every single down. Run the football. Try to put together a balanced drive. Try to score, but don't expose your quarterback every down.
And live to fight another day.
Yeah, exactly right.
Nice catch made by Chaz Schillings, and that's a first down for the Raiders out to about the 37 or 38. And again, some scuffling midfield.
And this is where everybody's got to compose themselves. We got the football to play. Let's see if we can get through this thing without another ejection, without a fight, without anybody taking a cheap shot at somebody else. And that goes for both teams.
Palmer over the middle, and he finds his man, the tight end, Brandon Myers, inside the 45 to about the 42.
And we talked earlier about the firepower missing from Oakland today, and we're not being apologists for the Raiders, but that is a lot of talent, big play talent, that all of them inactive today because of injuries. And this Raiders team needs to get those guys back on the field.
Palmer sets up the screen. This is Michael Bush. Bush shakes the tackler, can't shake the second one. The second one is Carlos Dansby.
And you get 3 guys out on front on a screen. You don't let the lead guy come through and hit your ball carrier. You got this. Hard to set a screen up much better than this. Check it out here. You got 3 blockers, and okay, let's not anybody block Culver. Let him come on in.
So now on 2nd and 5, this is Bush to the 35. It'll be 3rd and about 3.
Well, I'm defense for that 186 yards.
I'm sure Hugh Jackson will too.
Yeah.
Palmer on 3rd and 3. The quick pass over the middle and complete. Will Allen going face-to-face with Lewis Murphy on 4th and 3 now.
That's Will Allen's. He's been around 11 years in the NFL. And, you know, let's face it, the Dolphins have got more than their fair share of frustration. When you open up a season 0-7, your skin's a little thin, too.
You're going to have to go some to out-frustrate them.
Yes.
4th and 3, and we get a timeout called by Miami. So that's Miami's last timeout here in the second half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Best Buy. Find the perfect gift online or in-store this holiday season at Best Buy. And by Subway Restaurants. Get your own Subway steak melt today.
All right.
Who is he summoning from the deep?
Some are better than others. Some are better than others, and he's in the lead so far. Blowing on a conch shell. That's good.
4th and 3. Miami fans, of course, badly want this shutout. On the blitz, Palmer escapes, throws, complete on the far side. Lewis Murphy has it for the first down, and a fine job by Carson Palmer.
Oh, not known as the niftiest guy around, Carson Palmer does a wonderful job of evading that blitz, and he got a block just at the last minute. Jeremiah Bell had a clean shot at Palmer and then got nudged out of the way at the last minute.
So a new set of downs from the 30. Palmer on the move, being chased and threw it away.
Carson Palmer's going, this isn't as much fun as it used to be.
Chased by Jason Taylor, who today is playing in his 200th game as a Miami Dolphin.
Now, Jason Taylor, he's got 136 and a half career sacks. That's most by any active player in the NFL today by about 30 or more.
And number 8 all time.
What a tremendous football player from the University of Akron.
He was an Akron Zip.
He's a Zip.
2nd and 10. Palmer for the end zone. Incomplete.
Mike Carey threw a flag though, and the right back by Carson Palmer. I would assume this is going to be holding.
Sean Smith covering Darian
Holding
Bay.
offense number 68. 10 yards penalty is still 2nd down.
Well, that's Jared Valdir, the left tackle. Here he is right over here. Let's see how he does in his protection. Working against Jason Taylor, and Taylor with a nice move to the inside, and that is an arm bar, that's a tackle, that's a bear hug. And there, the Raiders have hit double digits in penalties one more time.
You know, when you average more than anybody else and then you exceed that average, you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
2nd and 20. Palmer got his man wide open. Hushmanzada, touchdown.
Well, Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator, is going to really be upset because you fight all day, and the one touchdown that you've given up to this point is on a blown coverage. It's a mental mistake, and that's frustrating. But that must feel pretty good to T.J. Hushmanzada to get his first touchdown with the Raiders.
Good for 40 yards.
Yeah.
Janikowski for the extra point. And it's 34-7.
Well, T.J. Hushmanzada and Carson Palmer know each other so well, but he's just left completely alone. A complete blow by the secondary of the Dolphins. And Carson Palmer, when he looked up, he probably said, I can't believe that. And he delivered it right to Hushmanzada.
That's like Christmas coming a little early.
It's nice. It's not enough, but it's nice. No offensive player. I mean, getting shut out is, especially in the National Football League, where the rules have been liberalized over the years, really in favor of the offense and making it harder and harder to play defense. Pitching a shutout in the NFL is pretty rare.
7:51 to play here in the 4th.
I think the prospect of getting shut out twice, like the Raiders were facing in one football season, at least they don't have to put up with that.
With the wind at his back, it's a pretty safe guess that Sebastian Janikowski will sail this one. And he does. And again, a few more words.
Well, it's been all Miami. Devon Best got things going on that nice little crossing pattern. Look at that blocking for Reggie Bush off the left side. Then Matt Moore, after a little fake, he gets it into the end zone. And then an interception. And Kevin Burnett with some nifty open field running and some great blocking by his defensive mates, gets it in there. And then finally Carson Palmer finds TJ Houshmandzadeh for the lone Raider score.
Meanwhile, here's Reggie Bush off the left side and middles his way across the 25 to the 26. A pickup of 6, and it'll be 2nd and 4.
And again, Greg, I don't want to belabor the point, but you go, there's Reggie Bush as he bulls his way. Well, I don't think that was always a term that announcers would use to describe the way Reggie Bush ran the football. And I'm being very complimentary when I say how he's changed his game.
When we spoke with him yesterday, you could feel a little bit of source of pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
That he feels in being able to do what he's done this season.
And I think that's justified.
On 2nd and 4, this is Bush again. And that'll be no gain. It'll be 3rd and 4.
Reggie was just a little quick to the hole that time. He had a trap going on in front of him, and he hit outside of it.
These Dolphins are home again next week. The Philadelphia Eagles come to town. Talk about a team in disarray.
Well, the Eagles played Thursday night, so they'll have a little time. John Henderson's been in and out of the game a couple of times. He's had that ankle taped up multiple times over on the trainer's table. But yeah, the Eagles, that display Thursday night was not pretty.
Moore gets snowed under at the 15-yard line by Desmond Bryant.
And one of the few times today that the pocket just totally disintegrated. Bryant there in the middle, he puts a good move on Garner. And he gets right around Nate Garner, who's in there at left guard.
So Brian McCann is deep. Brandon Fields will kick it away.
Huge punt.
Really good kick into the wind. Back to the inside of their 20-yard line is McCann. And McCann hit hard at about the 28 by Austin Spittler. Well, last week it was guest Tom Brady and a mic'd up Harbaugh Thanksgiving. .66-yard punt.
Well, this is going to make 4 out of the last 5 victories for the Miami Dolphins.
That one that they lost was really winnable.
Last play of the game, a field goal by Dallas.
Carson Palmer over the middle. That's Marcel Reese. Reese with running room and hurdles a tackler and is down inside the 35-yard line.
Well, Marcel Reese, we haven't talked about him a lot today. He's been such a big part of the Raider offense, but really today, how's that for a little athleticism? And a poor attempt at a tackle. Rashad Jones has got to stay a little higher and got to at least attempt to wrap up rather than just trying to knock his legs out from under it.
You get the impression 214-pound Rashad was looking at 240-pound Marcel bearing down on him. Little pop over the middle, and that's complete to Brandon Myers. Myers to about the 22.
Well, right now the Dolphins, they have gone into an ultra soft defense. Tony Sparano's not going to be too happy if the Raiders just walk right down and stuff his hands.
Clock continues to move. We come up on 4.5 minutes to play. Palmer gives it to Reese. Reese right up the middle, inside the 15 to about the 13, maybe even the 12. Rashad Jones, Marvin Mitchell with this tackle. And that will be an Oakland first down. once again, Reese the only back behind Carson Palmer, who will throw. Quick pass inside the 5 to Lewis Murphy. And Murphy to the 2. Well, we said a little while ago, Dan, that in a situation like this, a coach would look with great interest on how his players responded.
Absolutely.
In a lost cause.
I don't think it's caused for a lot of backslapping, but at least you can glean something positive out of this towards the end.
Palmer throwing far side of the end zone. Oh, what a catch by Darius Hayward-Bay.
One-handed. One-handed, he comes back and fishes it in. Carson Palmer going to the back shoulder, but look at that coverage by Vontae Davis. I mean, he's got his arm in there. Watch his left arm get right in there. He's pulling. He's got a hold of the football. And that is just a fantastic job of Darius Hayward-Bay controlling that ball on the way down to the ground.
Second touchdown catch of the season for Hayward-Bay. Janikowski's kick is good, and it's a 34-14 game. That's just a terrific catch.
Well, he first of all, he deflects the ball and gets a great bounce off of his own quad. The ball hits him in the thigh and it bounces right back into his midsection.
3:26 to play here in the fourth quarter. And this is what happened today. Christian Ponder, by the way, his Minnesota Vikings with a 3-point lead on Denver with about 3 minutes to play in regulation in that game.
You don't see Tom Brady in third place very often, behind Ponder and Orlovsky.
Chris Johnson, who seems to have come to life a little bit.
Marshawn Lynch, 148 yards. That was Thursday. And you can see that Percy Harvin, nice to see him back and playing well. You know, he's had all those migraine issues over the years.
Onside kick.
Well, that was a case where Janikowski trying to get the deflection, drive the ball, and hoping that it would bounce off a Miami player back to one of the Raiders.
Hey, I wouldn't want to be in front of one of his line drives.
No.
Hey, coming up, the Subway postgame show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. We'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway postgame show. (34-14) Miami, 3:25 to play. This is Thomas, the rookie. And he makes it to 45 of the Raiders before Tyvon Branch and Mike Mitchell combine for the stop.
Well, Mr. Gumbel, I think, some kudos. We'd be remiss if we didn't get it, if we left here without once again showing a little love and some praise to Tony Sparano. The way he held this team together after an 0-7 start. The locker room didn't come apart. Yeah, a few players said this or that or the other, but he held them together. He adapted. He changed the way they worked out. They haven't been in pads in a couple of months. He's coached his butt off, in my estimation.
You know as well as I do, Dan, that sometimes players will say one thing publicly and another thing privately, but there has been no such thing happening even in privacy from the Dolphin players. They are 100% behind it.
Well, I hold up the Philadelphia Eagles as case in point. They all talk about how much they love Andy Reid. Does the product on the field back that up? No, that's not the point. To your point, I think that to a man, this Miami Dolphin team, when you get off to an 0-7 start, your season is over. Let's be realistic.
And whatever has happened this year, no one can say that the Dolphins have not played hard, win or lose.
Nope.
2 minutes to play here in Miami. The Dolphins lead at 34-14. We're talking about Tony Sparano. There is Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, and be pretty much in his hands as to what happens after this season.
It seems to be a foregone conclusion that Sparano's going to be replaced.
Daniel Thomas for a first down inside the 40. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Chicago Bears today, so they moved to 5-7 on the season.
Oakland certainly, they're a loser, and Denver still in question.
They are trailing by 3 at Minnesota with 2 minutes to play. And Denver, we are told, is at the Minnesota 24.
But if by chance Denver would lose, wow, who would think that we'd be having Kansas City invited back into this conversation?
Matt Moore takes a knee. And this one is all but over. It will be a long plane ride back to Oakland in more ways than one for the Raiders.
And then they got to turn right around next week and head to Lambeau Field. At least it's not in the Eastern time zone. At least Green Bay's in the Central time zone. The Raiders.
Will you be saying go Central, young man?
If I was there, I would.
Matt Moore with a knee. These Miami Dolphins that came so close to knocking off the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day.
And Greg, this is a team that closes out with 2 games at New England and then here at home against the Jets. If I'm either one of those ball clubs, I'm not crazy about having to play the Dolphins. Not now. They're playing pretty well.
Tony Sperano's guys have won 4 of their last 5. Then an impressive win today, 34-14 over the Oakland Raiders. For Dan Deerdorf and for all of our guys here in Miami, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Sun Life Stadium in Miami. Coming up next, the Subway postgame show to New York for all of the scores and highlights after this.